I am Ian Snowden, and you're listening to the Not Bitter, Just Better podcast.
Not bitter, just better. The all-new Everton podcast. Okay, it's time for our preview to the game coming up at the weekend, which is, of course, Cardiff's visit to Goodison Park. Back to a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. I'd like to say welcome to our YouTube listeners. Having a little look at Cardiff. On the back of a good result at the weekend, they beat Fulham 3-1. They had 2 goals from Corker and a bit of a spawny one from Campbell, where it just kind of ricocheted in off him. But nonetheless, a good result. They've had a little bit of a poor run of form. 1-0 down to Tottenham, 4-0 home defeat to Hull. Obviously, our old mate Jelavic got a couple there. Before that, they went out to the Cup. Lost 2-1 at home to Wigan, and then a draw against Villa, and Swansea beat them 3-0. So even after since Solskjaer's come in, they didn't really have that a sustained pickup of form. I think they got the odd win here and there, but it's still been pretty much all doom and gloom for them. Sorry, that goal at the weekend wasn't a spawny one off Campbell. It went in off Rita in the end, so it went down as an own goal. The return fixture, when we went down there, I think it was Roberto's 3rd proper game in charge, and it was that very frustrating period where we started off with three draws, obviously away to Norwich, and the West Brom at home, and then the away visit to Cardiff, and 0-0, and it was just before it was like we were still doing the passing, but there was no real incisive play before that. So we were wondering where we were going to go from there, really. And as it was, 0-0, we need something better this time round. I cannot emphasise that highly enough. We said the game at the weekend down at Arsenal was our biggest game of the season. How we bounce back from this, I think this is going to be the biggest game of the season, because it's the start of a few games which are very, very winnable. I think we've got Swansea coming up. I think we've got Sunderland coming up. If we're going to end up in Europe, I think Champions League is going to be too far at the moment. But to have a good top 6 finish, obviously United are putting a string of results together. We need to. We need to bounce back, play our strongest lineup, and again, I'm not bothered if we turn them over. I'd love to knock 5 or 6 past them, but we just need to win. We need to carry on winning now to the end of the season. No more might-have-beens, no more playing against good teams and not getting the result. We need to just go out there and grind out results. We need everyone to be big, to be strong, and I think Lukaku's got a key part to play in this running. Looking at Cardiff's lineup, they've got a few players who we've been linked with. I think Mark normally does his Max one to watch. I think just as Zaha is one to watch. Maybe he's on loan down there because he was meant to be doing things he shouldn't be doing with David Moyes' daughter. I can't confirm that either way, obviously, and I wouldn't like to insinuate that it's actually true or not. But he's on loan at Cardiff. He looks like a tricky player. We were linked with him. So he's going to be my Max one to watch. I won't do a score prediction, but I will say that I am hoping there's just going to be... I can't see it. I can't see it, to be honest. I mean, Roberto's all happy and smiley, but we've heard that he's got a real ruthless streak. So I'm hoping he doesn't let players mope around and feel sorry for themselves. And every one of those players should be looking to bounce back. We had a little talk last week about the atmosphere at Goodison, and Big Nev of all people put a tweet out this week as how big a part the crowd will have to play in our running the end of the season and where we're going to finish if we can push us on into Europe. And I completely agree, but I've got a feeling that the crowd's going to be really, really a little bit like a funeral this week because of like the kind of hope that's kind of gone. I think the same kind of thing happened last year when we went out against Wigan. It just knocked us for 6. So, we can go back and we can bounce back, and I think the best thing we can do is just start off with an early goal and really get the crowd behind. A lot of people have been criticised and saying that there's only really an atmosphere when we score at the moment, and again I agree, but because I think everybody's just so tense that it needs that to kind of lighten the load a little bit. So if we start off attacking, if we can manage to nab an early goal, get the crowd back on side, then hopefully the Arsenal game will be just a memory, and we can just push on and have a good strong finish. Obviously Howard's a set to starting goal, barring any injuries. We've heard this week that Jags isn't going to be rushed back, so I think he's going to stick with Stones and the usual back four. Other than that, we'll still see Gareth Barry and James McCarthy. I think we will still see Morales, and then we'll still see Lukaku up top. Then's where it gets a little bit tricky. You're looking, will Delafeu come in? Will McGeady come in? Will Pienaar keep his place? Will Osman come in? Will Barkley keep his place? It's one of those. I think Barkley will keep his place, but I think Osman will possibly come in for Pienaar. So no place in the starting lineup again for Delafeu. I think in order to get the best impact out of Delafeu, particularly, I think he's going to need more than 10 minutes. I think putting him on and expecting him to come on and change a game, he seems to need a little bit of time to find his feet, to find his range, find the pace of the game a little bit. So you've got to either start him or put him on with at least half an hour. So, if we are looking for some kind of inspiration, I don't think Roberto should be leaving it until the 80th minute. As we've discussed, I don't think the substitutes have worked. I think that's more against teams where we're not expected to get anything. So Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, I don't think the substitutions have worked in those games. But against the teams where we are expected to win, like the West Ham game and Villa, those substitutions have worked well. Obviously, Lukaku came on the week before, and got the winner. The Villa game, Naismith came on, got a goal within about 2 minutes, and then won the penalty, which won us the game. So, I don't want to be too harsh on Roberto and his substitutions, but I think with the likes of seeing impact from Delafeu, even McGeady, I think those type of players. You're meant to come on and have a reading for the pace of the game, and then make an immediate impact. I think it's just asking too much. But I'm going into this positive, and I'm hoping this could be the one that could kick on and start turning our season back around, because we've just been a little bit up and down, and the down points at the moment are just really lingering in the memory too much, and it's really starting to hurt, and it hurt our progress this season. So, as I said before, we've got a good string of fixtures together. Let's kick on. Let's get behind the boys, and let's start off this period of the season with another 3 points, all fresh again now, and let's get back behind Bobby and the boys. Obviously, it's normally me and Mark, so I think I've witted on enough. Nearly a full hour on my own today, so I'm going to leave it there for this week. I'd like to thank everyone for listening, as always. Thanks to our YouTube listeners, and if you haven't checked us out, you can catch the whole show on iTunes or SoundCloud if you just search Not Bitter, Just Better. Thanks, as always, to our normal subscribers. Just do us a favour, keep spreading the word for us. If you got a couple of blues, and I know we have listeners abroad. We've got some listeners in Australia and America. It's difficult for you to have that kind of banter at a game, so hopefully we can provide that for you. We've had people who, including our mate Carl, who's out down in Oz, send your thoughts in, do a voice recording. If you've got an iPhone, you can just do a voice recording and email it straight to us. It's notbitterjustbetter@outlook.com. So feel free. So having two Scousers go on all the time and not being able to stand half the things that they're going on about, yeah, have your say as well. We've passed the 8,000 mark on Facebook this week as well, so I'd like to thank everyone for everybody's contribution there, for every share, every like, every comment that you have. You know, sometimes we don't always get things right, we make a few mistakes and people jump on it, but the majority of feedback on our Facebook, you know, we do tend to be a little bit kind of in the middle. We're not anti-Ken Wright, or we don't jump down a lot of players' throats or get on players' backs when they have one bad performance. You know, we do try and be fair about stuff, and I think people tend to appreciate that. So thank you, and keep on listening. Hopefully Mark back next week, because my bloody throat's killing, and hopefully it will be killing on Saturday for all the right reasons after we stuff Cardiff. Catch you all next week, Blues. Have a good one.